Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, November 6, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, Davison, Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning. Frank Rinaldo with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning. Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning. Julie Allen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning. Asad Al-Najjar, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning. Karen Ingalia, Sanitation.
Good morning. Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment, and we also do not have any comments under the Neighborhood Council comments section. We did receive a speaker card on item number 2, and in addition to that, a documentation that was submitted from Channel Law Group that was distributed to all commissioners.
All right. So we'll close the Neighborhood Council category of commentary as well as general public comment. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, October 16, 2017 by Commissioner Rivas? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda item number 2, tree removal in Council District 4, 13441 Mulholland Drive, recommending that the board first find that the project is categorically exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 3, Category 1 of the City's Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and there is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 2, find that none of the exceptions to the use of categorical exemption as set forth in 15300.2 of state CEQA guidelines apply. 3, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division located at 1149 South Broadway is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And 4, review and approve the request for a fee permit to remove 4 coast live oak trees. Tree replacements are required. Just briefly, we continued this before, Mr. Tyson. Was that because, if my memory is accurate, was that the council office, were they waiting for a determination by the Mulholland Drive Review Board?
That's correct, President James.
Okay, so we have the determination reportedly from the Mulholland Drive Review Board, and according to an email, I believe it's from, it's from Alicia Witzling at Planning. It looks like the determination letter has, while the Mulholland Drive Review Board has acted on the matter, their letter of determination has not yet been issued. Is that correct, Mr.
That is
Tyson?
correct, President James.
Okay. Mr. Hall, you have a card, and can you come up for us? So, we're waiting for the letter of determination from the Mulholland Drive Review Board, and I'm reticent to hear the matter before that letter of determination is at least in the file, which leans in your favor of a request for a continuance. I should say our city attorney and myself have a question in the sense that you were just retained yesterday?
Formally, yes.
Okay.
I met with with the client on site, and we were retained yesterday.
Okay, because weren't you involved in email communications on this matter before?
Right. They were inquiring, but not yet formally retained. I was just helping them understand what was going on.
Okay. So now you've been formally retained, and you've submitted a letter brief of sorts challenging the categorical exemption, correct?
Yes, and I have to apologize. It is not my pattern to submit that at the last minute. I was rushing to get this done, and I apologize. And so yes, we are curious as to why this particular tree removal project is exempt from CEQA.
Okay. Well, we'll get you an answer of sorts when we hear this matter. I'm going to continue it for 30 days because of the lack of a letter of determination from the Mulholland Drive Review Board. And like I said, that just kind of by happenstance leans in your favor on the requested continuance. We we would like these letters to be sent earlier. I realized that it was a last minute for you, and we accept your apology, but you know, you
It's
work
not
with
fair to anybody.
you
I
work with
understand
us a lot. So what do we have on 4 weeks on number 2?
That would take us to Wednesday, December 6th.
Okay, let's do 4 weeks, Monday, December 4th. Is that okay with your schedule, Mr. Hall?
Yes, I will make that work. One thing I just want to let you know is that I do know that my clients intend on appealing the DRB determination, just so you know that. So that will be appealed. And then also my other client is actually flying back today from Israel, so thank you on his behalf. He submitted and participated in the DRB process, so thank you for continuing.
Okay.
So he can participate.
So that'll be on Monday, December the 4th, recognizing that there's going to be an appeal of the Mulholland Drive Review Board issue. That is what it is.
Did we say the 6th or the 4th?
The 4th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
4 weeks from today, Monday, December 4th. So it's actually not 30 days, it's 4 weeks from today. We appreciate your recognition that this was last minute and such. It is what it is. We will see you then.
Thank you very much,
All
Commissioner
right,
James
thank
and
you.
the board.
Anything, Mr. Hall, anything additional that you end up wanting to submit before that hearing? Feel free any time to submit it, but the earlier the better.
Sure. I actually often reach out to Fernando and ask and try to make sure that it's submitted prior to when the packets go out. So again, I sit on my neighborhood council. I know how it is to get last minute things. It's really hard to make informed decisions when you get it at the last minute. So I will absolutely make sure that any submittal that is supplemental is submitted in advance. Far in
Okay.
advance.
Thank you. Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, as I'm sure Mr. Hall can appreciate the difficulty of receiving last-minute submissions, as I believe the applicant is of record here, perhaps the board could request that Mr. Hall, at the same time he submits anything to this board, also submits it to the applicant so that they have an adequate chance to review and respond.
I think that's fair enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will
Okay.
do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then that'll be the order. We'll continue it to Monday, December the 4th for agenda item number 2. Agenda item number 1, request for authority, used oil payment program for fiscal years 2018 through 2022, recommending that the board first approve and forward the report forthwith with its transmittals to the mayor and the city council, with the recommendations that the city council, subject to the concurrence of the mayor, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to submit applications to the Department of Resource Recycling and Recovery, that's Cal Recycle, for the used oil payment program and accept the payments from Cal Recycle, to conduct all negotiations, to provide additional information, and to execute and submit all documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, and amendments, subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form and legality, which may be necessary to secure funding with respect to the OPP, which is the oil payment program. Secondly, request the city council to adopt the resolution transmittal number 1, authorizing the submittal of applications for the oil payment program for fiscal years 2018-19 through 2022 to 2023. And third, request the city council to approve the acceptance of the used oil payment program through the OPP, estimated at $1 million annually, for fiscal years 2018 through 19 through 2022, 2023, and appoint the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to conduct all negotiations and to submit all documents necessary for maintaining a used oil collection and recycling program. Before we go to our representative, we have a speaker card on number 1. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 1.
Well, we all know what oil payment programs are all about. We all know who Danny Bakewell is all about. $3 million he owes to the city of Compton so that such an oil payment program can digress into the whole system of what's happening under the ADA 42 USC 12101 discrimination based on payment programs. All city programs are in violation of 42 USC 1983 for the record. Fuck this commission for fucking up so-called oil payment programs, otherwise known as OPP. Not you and me, who's fucking this system up. City Council and that of the mayor to authorize the director of sanitation, BOS, why don't you just put, dumbass, BSS, bullshit shit. See, because to authorize the mayor to do any work in the city of Los Angeles, it's hard to find the goddamn motherfucking mayor doing his work. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to discuss $100,000 or $100 million based on such bullshit annually, fiscal year 2018-2019, which what documents necessary maintaining used oil? Well, I got news about used oil. Fuck your used oil and fuck America. Trump, 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 all oil, open up all refineries, open up all ocean rigs, and let's pump this fucking world to hell so that no one has their violations of constitutional rights deferred under the oil program services. Fuck you.
Okay, our Bureau of Sanitation representative, go ahead, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Yasi Arma with LA Sanitation, Solid Resources Citywide Recycling Division. Under the Residential Special Materials Program, the Used Oil Recycling Program has established safe and convenient opportunities for residents of the city to dispose of their used motor oil and oil filters. These include establishing certified collection centers, hosting mobile drive-through collection events, used oil filter exchange events, used oil recovery centers at our marinas, and supporting the city's 7 safe centers. We'd like to ask the Council to approve and adopt a 5-year resolution that would grant us the authority to submit applications and accept payments for the Used Oil Payment Program from the Department of Resources Recycling and Recovering, also known as CalRecycle, to continue funding the Used Oil Recycling Program. Thank you.
Thank you. I read the report. Any questions at all? We need to go get additional money for our oil recycling program. Is it oil recycling or oil disposing?
Recycling.
Okay.
And disposing.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Repenning. Excuse me, can I ask you a question while you're here? Just for the record, for community members that have, let's say they have a bunch of old motor oil that hasn't been used, where should they take that motor oil for proper recycling and handling?
Sure. If there is no event in their area that weekend following when they have the night, they can take it to one of our 7 safe centers that are open every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, 9 to 3. So that's actually the best option. If there's an event in the area, that's even better. It's maybe closer, or it's just drive-through, drop-off. So there are options. Or they can take it to a certified collection center, like an auto parts store, to drop off their oil. They'll accept it.
So the auto parts stores as well have recycling partnerships?
That's correct.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, I wanted to ask in terms of the outreach projects that we do in the various districts, because I realize we only have 6 or 7
Yes.
strategically placed permanent centers.
That's correct.
Is there a routine schedule for each of the council offices as to when to do it, or they just kind of do it whenever they want to? Or how do we implement the field locations for constituents and citizens to go to?
For the permanent facilities or for the mobile events?
For the mobile events.
The mobile events, we do focus on the areas that aren't closely serviced by the permanent facilities.
Sure.
And when we do get a request to have an event, we're very open to working with the council office that wants to have an event in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't have knowledge of specifically when. I know that each in the South LA area council offices have had them, but I'm unclear if they're implemented routinely, because often I have citizens who ask, how in fact can I get my oil or my disposable stuff taken care of, given the fact that it's so far to drive from one of the established centers. So I'm questioning whether or not we should have a routine time certain that we know every year that we're going to have these things in the district.
We have a schedule. We actually do them actually at those sites every year, in the South LA part especially. Well, I mean all over the city, but we do have several events, locations in South LA area.
But we do them every year.
Oh, yes.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you. I'll make the motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We will send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 3, Council District 10, requested contract acceptance 8th Street to Irolo Street to Western Avenue, STP Street Lighting Project. It's a federal project. Recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. Herman, you, for some reason, have a card in on number 3.
So you heard federal dollars spent on lighting projects. Let's shine more light on all the projects of federal dollars, how they're misused, inappropriately spent at a time when we have hepatitis spreading like lightning throughout the city of Los Angeles. When I got off the train off of 7th and Fig to see the men scrubbing it down with bleach. Why don't you scrub all the lighting down where all the prostitutes and all the white niggers who sell out the city of Los Angeles shine so bright? This way we can take care of America and make it great. Unfortunately, Herman Jason Wesson, A-K-H-E-R-B, Herb of CD10, don't give a fuck about Western Avenue and anyone in Western Avenue. That's why he's declaring it federal dollar waste and abuse, and let's put more fucked up lights in that area. They don't need lights. Lights create more power shortages. A grid that's capacity is overwhelmed because you could not fix the infrastructure of the goddamn lights. Every major storm, every major earthquake to come will prove that I am making a true statement for the record. That the infrastructure of all lighting will go down, down, down. Because you don't have the engineering process of the great American engineers behind the formula. Make backup support so that we don't have a lighting shortage or a lighting failure in the city of Los Angeles. So fuck the Jews for all the bad lights.
2 minutes.
Mr. Rinaldi on agenda item number 3, sir.
Good morning. I'm here for the Bureau of Contract Administration to recommend acceptance of this project. This contract was executed back in October 16, 2013 in the amount of $589,299, and it was completed in December 7, 2015 by Salad Miller Contracting Company. The project consisted of replacing the existing high-voltage street lighting system with the low-voltage system utilizing energy-efficient LED fixtures. The existing electrolier were replaced with 36 new steel flute and 3 modern steel electrolier. The LED luminaires are equipped with the technology to provide real-time reporting of light outage and failure. Work included replacement of conduits, wires, poles, luminaires, and foundation. The installation of this new lighting system provides for a more reliable and uniform system. The project was awarded for $589,299. We had 7 change orders in the project, which had decreased the amount of the contract by $5,420.35. bringing the total cost for this project to $583,879.65. Final corrections were completed in December 7th, 2015. They are not disputed funds are withheld, therefore no funds are due to the contractor. The Office of Contract Compliance finds that the contractor has complied with equal employment opportunity and labor compliance required by this contract. This project is a federally funded and subject to the City Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, the DBE. The contract was awarded with a pledge of 2.88% for DBE and 0% for OBE. The contractor was actually able to reach participation level of 2.7 for DBE and 33.59% for OBE. There are no resolved property owners' complaints in connection with this project, and for this reason, the Bureau of Contract Administration is recommending acceptance.
Any questions, Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Frank, good to see you, sir. You know, just the delta, the change from Global Electric, they had pledged $16,975, and their achieved dollar amount was a little bit less. Do we know why it was less subcontracted to them, Frank?
I'm not quite sure why it was a little bit less. I know that there were a few substitution of the projects because of rock wheeling and jacking of conduits. But I'm not sure.
So relatively small, but there was an adjustment made, and they just fell short of their goal. All right, thanks, sir.
Anything else? On number 3, I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? To that objection, we'll adopt number 3. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We will send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 4. Council District 1, Contract Acceptance, Avenue 26, Bridge over Arroyo Seco Channel, Seismic Retrofit Project. This is a federal project. Recommending that the board accept the contract. Yet again, Mr. Herman has a card on number 4.
We have a sellout in CD1. A sellout by the name of you, Councilman Cedillo, in regards to the vague acceptance of this contract under project number BHLS 5006212. For the record, there needs to be an investigation as to why are we using federal dollars at a time when the infrastructure of Los Angeles is at its lowest. Extreme failure to cooperate with the federal government and abuse American dollars for something promised and not built in time is not the American way to go. We have a bridge being built by this artsy engineer right off of 7th Street. And the goddamn fucking project is behind in schedule. And we're going to open up another bridge across the Arroyo Seco just because we have a sellout politician, a disabled motherfucker who has no responsibility to deal with the issues under 42 USC 12101. What the fuck's wrong with that man? His wife's disabled, his child's disabled, and he don't give a fuck about me, a disabled person with not just one issue of disability, but the 2010 standard of how to fix the fucking infrastructure for people to have programmatic access at all bridges, all locations, throughout this fucked up city of Los Angeles, you stupid white motherfucker Jews who put Jesus on a stake and crucified a man named Christ to call yourself a Christian. Fuck you.
Mr. Rinaldi, are you back on number 4? Go ahead, sir.
This contract was executed on July 11th, 2014 in the amount of $796,921.95, and it was completed on July 1st, 2015 by Future DB International, Inc. This project provided for the seismic strengthening of the arch ribs, cross struts, and spandrel columns of the Avenue 26 bridge span over the Arroyo Seco Channel to meet the latest California Department of Transportation Caltrans seismic requirement. The strengthening consisted of applying fire wrap in layers to the area which required strengthening. Construction also provided for the strengthening of several column pedestal between the arch ribs and the brick decks by the addition of concrete beam column base. Additionally, existing spalls and crack in the structure were filled with grout and epoxy. The project was awarded for $796,921.95. There was a revised authorized budget to $949,614.15. 19 change orders were issued, increasing the contract amount by $109,462, bringing the total cost of this project to $906,384.38. The project was completed at 13% above the award amount, but 4.44% below the authorized amount. Final corrections were completed July 1st, 2015. There were no disputed funds or withheld, therefore no funds are due to the contractor. The contractor has complied with the Equal Employment Opportunity and Labor Compliance requirement on this contract. The project is federally funded and subject to the City Disadvantaged Business Enterprise DBE program. The contractor was awarded with the bid pledge of 0.93 for DBE and 41.50% for other business OBE. The actual participation level achieved was 0.82% for DBE and 41.64% for OBE. There are no unresolved property owners or complaints in connection with this project, and for this reason, we request an acceptance. We had a stop notice in the amount of $139,000, I believe, around there, which I don't think has been released yet, but I understand from Fernando that we have the paperwork coming in very quickly.
That is correct, Mr. Rinaldi. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. We did have a stop notice that was filed in this office back in June 2015. We did receive a bond releasing that $139,000 or so. Our understanding is that the Hanover Insurance Company has submitted their release of the bond, and it's on its way. So as soon as we receive it, we will release that bond from our records, but it does not preclude us from moving forward with accepting this project.
Okay. Commissioner Ascento.
Thank you. Frank, I'm going to go to the advertised DBE goal, the 21%, and then the awarded pledge of less than 1%. How do we resolve that delta of 20% when we said this is what we anticipate, and they come back with less than 1%?
Well, that's percentage that the Bureau of Engineering sets for the project.
Correct.
And sometimes based on the type of work, which may not require that many subcontractors, or the pool of the work is such that you only can have one sub or two, which sort of lowers the percentage of participation.
I understand this is a significant amount. That's about $200,000 that it could have gone to a DBE, and I just want to understand from our projections to what actually happens and how people get awarded, that we hope that there's that connection between what the goal was and what the success was.
I think that gets done pretty much on every project. There is a process that the Bureau of Engineering goes through when they assess this percentage of participation in the contracts. Like I say, I think in this project we only had one subcontractor or two subcontractors. There was very minimal participation of subcontractors because of the type of work that needed to be done. The majority of the money was in the wrapping of the column, and that was all performed by one specific subcontractor.
Understood. I think it's still our wish for that realization to happen, that 21%.
We will.
That's the expectation, encouragement, because that's what we anticipated it to be. So, thanks, Frank.
Sure, it will be done.
Mr. Rinaldi, this begs the question, on these federally funded projects, they're calculated a little differently, things are done a little differently in the participation arena. Is is it more difficult to achieve our goals in the federally funded projects, or is it just that it appears that way this morning?
I think we met the percentage in other projects, and I think this one was just a unique, I guess, project situation. We can sure review the process with the Bureau of Engineering to improve it and make sure that we do meet our creating situation to meet on the percentage that we're looking for, that the board looks for.
Okay. Commissioner Davis?
In terms of the area that we did not perform on, what area are we talking about specifically in terms of performance?
I'm not quite sure, Commissioner Davis. I can gather the information and get back to you. I'm not quite sure where we underperformed.
For advertisement. We're talking about advertisement, right?
Right.
Okay, so in terms of advertisement, can you explain to me the objectives in our advertisement requests? What is it specifically that we're asking for a person to do in terms of the advertisement for this particular bid?
Advertising, I'm not quite getting the question. I'm sorry.
You don't know?
I'm
Okay.
not quite sure.
Commissioner Jacinto raised the issue about, he just questioned you about our underperforming on advertisement. We had a bid that we anticipated, an anticipated goal, I guess, was it of 21%, Commissioner? And our performance in reality was 0.82%, which clearly is not even 1%. And if we're talking about advertisement, I certainly want to explore specifically what task we're asking subcontractors to do. And the reason why I ask that question is because I don't know there to be a shortfall in terms of us achieving people who are capable of doing the advertising.
I understand. I just want to remind this board that this contract was awarded with a 0.93%.
Correct. But we anticipated that there would be an available 21.50 available to do that task, correct? Is that what I'm reading, Commissioner Jacinto? So you see the shortfall there?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying in terms of raising the issue? I know maybe perhaps you weren't the project manager of this and don't know specifically what it is that they're asking, but I think that to the point of Commissioner Jacinto here, is that there's a gross underachievement on our behalf in an area where, in fact, we do have available people of different communities that do advertisement. Now, some of our subspecialty areas, we don't have people of different cultures involved. For example, if we talked about environmental engineering, we know that there would be a shortfall there.
Commissioner Davis, I don't think advertising is the subject of the work here. It's that the project was advertised. I think there's some confusion around the word advertising. The project is advertised with a DBE goal of 21.5%.
I see.
So that's the goal for the project, correct,
I got you.
Mr. Rinaldi?
So when we advertised the project, we advertised
So
this.
the project was
But we would like
advertised
to
at
have
21%.
this participation.
Right.
Then the contractor makes the presentation based on the diversity of the work and how many subs they have, and they will dictate.
I see what you're
The
saying.
type of work could be any number of different
That's
things.
correct.
So Jacinto was talking about at the rate in which we were advertising for the subs to be involved is more of what he was talking about. Okay, that is why I asked the question, because I wanted some clarity. But even having said that, still, to the degree that we have done federally funded projects, they usually require us to achieve diversity at a much more intense rate than we do on local publicly funded projects, correct? Usually?
Yeah, we can say that.
So usually we perform pretty well on that. So in this case, I would suspect that maybe we had people who just didn't respond, or you just don't...
No, I know I'm going back to the same thing, but it really has to do with the number of subs, the type of work that the contractor has at the job site for participation of subcontractors. The bigger the project, like 6th Street Viaduct, we have no problem meeting all the requirements and we're exceeding them. But in a smaller project where you just have the prime that performs the bulk of the work, he may have just one sub or two. And it's hard to find a specific sub for this this one column wrapping, there is not too many minority contractors
Well,
that
that's
can
what I was
participate.
trying to get
So
to.
it reduces the number of participation.
Well, that's specifically what I was trying to get to, and I definitely understand when we have a shortfall of talent and certification. So that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Thank you, Mr. Rinaldi.
All right, thank you.
I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We will send number 4 forthwith. Agenda item number 5, our construction services contract update from the Bureau of Engineering. Mr. Herman, you have a card in. Be interesting.
Well, you see how the updates come together, right? You ask a question, get a question answered later because you're not prepared dealing with the service contract. You see, if you have a specific question to a specific contract, come prepared to fucking answer it. This way, the transparency and the conduct of the city's business for the people of Los Angeles and us Americans are not bamboozled. We know exactly what percentage is spent for this project only, what services will be rendered under the contract specifically by federal standard and state standard so that there's no stealing. Otherwise, a bullshitter like me can come in here and bullshit why construction service contracts and the Bureau of Engineering don't have clarifications to answer the problems, Mr. Jordan. That's why I am here to ensure that there's transparency in the conduct of the mayor's office. Mayor Wesson Jason Herb, a.k.a. asshole, should know that we have a policy based on city charter and rules of decorum to follow, which is called the Brown Act. And as long as you continue to violate and restrict us from publicly speaking, as we, the people of the state of California, waive no rights of ours but to legislate and participate in all service program and activities.
Mr. Kenny on the construction services contract update.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. I am Sean Kenny from the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Engineering Division, and I'm here to report on the third quarter status of our construction service contract, Cisco 9. This contract works with a single general contractor to provide urgent repairs, process improvements, and design support for the city's wastewater treatment program. We are in the third year of a 4-year contract with the Cisco 9 contractor Murray Company. To date, we've identified 64 projects. We've completed 42 with a authorized expenditure of almost $12 million. Our contract has $3 million remaining in our budget. This contract will expire in April of 2019, but in April of 2018, we will cease issuing new contracts under this contract, at which time we expect to have the next Cisco contract in place, Cisco 10. So the new projects are advertised in the BAVN system, and we continue to get strong participation from subcontractors. I'm going to provide a summary of our most recent updates as presented in our report. Minority business enterprise participation, we are at a level of 12.3% versus our anticipated level of 6%, a little more than twice. Women business enterprises, we are at a participation level of 10.6 versus 2% anticipated, so we're doing a little more than 5 times our participation there. Small business enterprise, our anticipated level is 20%. We're just over that right now at 20.9. We've been able to finally break through on emerging business enterprise this quarter, where we have an anticipated level of 1%. We've been able to get 1.1%. And lastly is our disabled veteran business enterprise participation. We're at 1.8% versus an anticipated level of 2%. So we are continuing to be, happy with it, but continue to work to expand that too. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis.
Good. I appreciate the report in terms of the Cisco tool that we're using. In terms of our looking at, the discussion we just had about the underperformance in areas where prime contractors have very few subs on the work site, and how can we help further develop that? Certainly, prime contractors are responsible for recruiting and hiring subs. And yet, even though it's not our responsibility, it might be helpful if we can continue to engage in educational efforts for subs to help increase the pool of available subs and really indirectly helping the prime contractors have more available people. I'd love to see us begin to move in that direction as a city. And to do that, that means that we'll have to communicate with contract administration, because they currently are doing a small business academy, and we probably have maybe about 20 or 30 people in those classes that happen maybe once or twice a year. And there appears to be a need that is even much greater than the effort that we are currently putting forth. And I say that to you because it's going to be critically important that engineering communicates with Con Ed around what we can do to expand our effort towards education in terms of these small business academies. I understand that some governments call them boot camps. And it appears, and I've heard from some prime contractors on this, that it would be helpful if we could do more of that. So my question to you is, are we communicating with contract administration? And would we be opposed to helping to plan more of an effort towards doing that with our subcontracting community?
Yes, we work closely with Con Ed, and of course we'd be more than happy to participate. We have been participating when opportunities arise. We've been in touch with working through the mayor's office, and that's one way we do reach out and do bring these people in. And we have the benefit, I think, of having many years of doing this, so we have some advantage, and we've learned over the years to develop our pool, and it's an environment where small minority businesses can come in at a low risk and succeed and grow. So we'd be glad to share some of the ways we outreach and some of the ways we bring these contractors in. But every program's a little different, and it's true, I think, that the bridge program is very specialized. For us, we've got multidiscipline projects typically. Where
it appears that the prime contractors need more help from us, those of us in public works, to identify and help them to see available people who can be recruited.
Yeah.
And that other city government, local governments throughout the state, some, not every one of them, are doing that kind of thing. We do, again, have the Small Business Academy, but I think engineering is critically important to help make that happen, and that we can be a model for how the mayor can help to increase the pool of available subs in areas where we are underutilizing certain community groups. So I mention it because it's not a new idea. There are some people who are doing it, and I'd love for us to consider that moving forward.
Be glad to. I'll work with contract administration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. I appreciate Commissioner Davis's comments. Sean, this is another great report. Maury does good work. They're kind of setting the bench when you're 2 times the MIBI, Minority Business Enterprise, you're 5 times the WEBI goal. That's pretty kind of benchmarking and best practices. So what I'm going to encourage as well is that Murray, as a prime contractor, share their tactics, their methodology, and of course it's working with you, Rick, and Mike on this. But to Commissioner Davis's point, it may have a halo effect with other primes if we share how they do things. I mean, Cisco, it's under $1 million, it's a good scope of work, and we're able to get the diversity numbers even more so. This is a benchmark, and to Commissioner Davis's point, I think we should get them around to our events, our outreach events, and sort of allow them to sort of share their secret sauce, their recipe of how they're successful, and encourage others to do the same. So I'll work with you on that and the Bureau, but it's something that our Business Advisory Committee, Commissioner Penning and Commissioner Davis and the whole committee has identified. And so let's try to edify and get those best practices out there, sir. Right?
Yeah, and I think it would be a great opportunity to bring them to our treatment plant. We have got the facilities. Our contractors there. We've talked about in the past. We haven't yet been able to get that together, but that would be an option. Give them a tour. It's an interesting place.
Excellent, thanks. The report will be received. Anything else? Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.